Hi, I'm Mike, and this is an intro. Alright, what we got here is Mirror Mockery. The 2-drop enchantment, colorless and a blue. This says Enchant Creature. Whenever enchanted creature attacks, you may put a token onto the battlefield that's a copy of that creature. Exile that token at the end of combat. Now, this card is interesting, because it is a clone effect, but it's a situational and temporary one. Now, I'd say it would double your attackers, but it's after the attackers are declared, and they don't have haste. So it doesn't really work well in that respect. Now, the standby way of this is to use it exactly as the picture describes, or illustrates, I guess is the word. You're going to put it onto an enemy that you do not want to hit you, and just hope that the mirror effect stops them. It's similar to Mirror Entity, but instead of just copying the stats, it's copying the creature itself as a token. Now, the token goes away. There's ways around that, but I honestly think those are a little... I'm not pulling out phasing just for a single token. Mostly because the rules of phasing are so incredibly complex that they're not worth learning. And there's very few cards that use it. If you know someone who plays phasing, run away screaming. Okay, but beyond that, that's the standard use. The one I think is more useful, though, is taking someone for their enter the battlefield abilities. Now, normally that's a given, but the creature with the enter the battlefield ability has to be able to attack and survive for them to be useful. Now, that's a little more limiting, because there's a lot of creatures that I really like. For example, Karmic Guide. This is a great creature. It enters the battlefield and reanimates. The problem is, it's a 2/2. Now, it has flying and protection from black, which is good. It's very good. But that's 5 investment for a 2/2 that's easy to kill. I mean, anything that flies and is a 3 strength is going to kill it. You don't want to do that because Mirror Mockery goes away with the creature it enchants. Which is also why using it defensively is kind of a one-shot deal, unless both can't kill each other. That's just a stalling action. The best use for it is to take something else. For example, now, the next 2 cards I'm going to show, they're good, but they're not perfect. One I like, though, is Great Whale and Prime Speaker Zagana. Ooh, hey, cards. Okay, sorry, just adjusting the camera. Moved on me. Great Whale, because when it enters, you get 7 lands untapped. That's very versatile. Now, it's a 7 cost, but it pays for itself, which is good. The problem is, it's a 5/5 without flying. It doesn't really have any defense other than just being a slightly large body. It can still be destroyed easily. Any destruction effect will take it out. So, it's... Understand the situation of the game you're in prior to using it. Because if you need the mana, this will be a very effective way to quickly get more. It'll double your mana easily. And it's not a high-cost combo, because once this is out, you can put this one down easy. But Zagana, this is such a... I'm quite certain it can be useful in the absolute most broken ways, but it's also delicate because Zagana can be killed easily with a kill spell, or stolen, or anything, and then you have some issues. Now, if someone steals Zagana when Mirror Mockery is out, you're still going to get the copy of Zagana. That said, you could easily be milled out by someone forcing you to attack because of her abilities. On the one hand, that's the constant thing. On the other hand, you're probably going to have it set up in such a way that you can't mill yourself out. By the way, if you're playing Zagana and you have this out, you're going to be drawing a lot of cards, so make sure you can't mill yourself out. Tomorrow Zombie's Familiar sets it up so you scry and choose a card out of 3 instead of drawing, so you'll never mill yourself out that way. Consider that as an option. But yeah, every time she attacks, she's going to put in a copy of herself. Now, the copy will immediately fizzle because she's legendary, but it will enter the battlefield, which is the really important part, because you're going to be drawing a lot of cards. At this point, Zagana will already be the strongest creature that you control, because she is the power X counters equal to the power of the strongest creature you have, plus her starting 1. So she's a starting huge body, usually. Unless you play it really badly and she doesn't get that many counters. But the fact that you're going to be drawing that means you're going to have a lot of options. You don't need to attack with Prime Speaker Zagana and Mirror Mockery to get the most use of it. Really, this is going to be the card you get to set up an endgame. It is not the endgame in itself. But just be aware of that. It comes with disadvantages, but it will give you so many options that it is certainly worth it. But keep in mind, though, she can be killed easily. So use it when you know you're free. Or because you're blue, because you can counter it. Next up, I'm going to show a few of the more steady cards that I'm absolutely certain will work out well. Specifically, my personal favorite card of demons, Rune-Scarred Demon. I honestly believe he is by far the best demon they've ever printed. Mostly because I love getting a 6/6 flyer that gives me the card I need every time I drop him in. And Mirror Mockery puts a copy on him, or drops someone out whenever he attacks. So basically, every time he attacks, you get the card you want. He's a 6/6 flyer, so he's pretty safe. Sure, there's still ways to kill him, but he's black to start with, which takes out the easy one. And a few other of the older kill spell cards. Now, of course, giving him hexproof or shot would be best, but this still gives you a very nice advantage with card just choice, not even draw, it's just card choice. And, you know, if nothing else, that will probably give you an advantage over your opponent because you will choose what you need. After that, though, the 3 cards that I think are the most effective, and there's others, but these are just my personal favorites. Angel of Despair. Wait for it to... Okay, it's still blurry. Weird. And whatever. Angel of Despair, Angel of Serenity, I like angels, and Bogardian Hellkite. Each one of these has a very powerful enter the battlefield ability. Hellkite, when he enters, does 5 damage divided as you choose among any number of target creatures or players. Now, enough attacks with this guy will quickly, he'll be hitting for 5, and his copy will enter and for 5. So either you can clear threats from Hellkite so he survives, which is very useful, and then just keep hitting with Hellkite, which is a complete strategy on its own right. Or you just hit for 5 and 5 flash damage when the copy comes in. So you just, slowly take off 10 every turn. And you can probably take out most opponents that way if they don't do anything. Then there's Angel of Despair, which is a straight-up terminate. Now, she's a 5/5 flyer, and she's black, so good things are taken out from killing her. And when she enters, destroy target permanent. This is very useful because either you can take out threats to her and keep doing it, or you can slowly whittle away at everything your opponent has, which is very useful. Now, the color combination is black, white, blue, so you're pretty much playing Esper at that point. Well, you are playing Esper at that point. So keep that in mind, but I think that's a very useful combination because it will take out its own threats, and once those threats are gone, you'll just slowly eat away at everything your opponent has until they can't respond. And God knows if you can somehow introduce multiple attack phases. And for the same reason, Angel of Serenity. Now, this one is actually, I think, a little better because it'll flat up exile. Now, when that copy goes away, they're bounced back to your opponent's hand. But that means every turn you're going to be bouncing 3 things that stay exiled until the end of combat. So if there's any crazy little flash mechanics, they can't be used against you right away. And you're going to have those things exiled off the original Angel, then with the copy of the Angel, so you're easily going to get rid of the threats to her. And she's still a 5/6 flyer, so she's a good body, she flies, and she could probably hit your opponent. This might be a slow control win, but it's a slow control win that does decent damage and will take out a lot of threats and a lot of generals early on. So yeah, it's quite useful. That said, you still have to consider that Mirror Mockery does have the one solid and considerable weakness that it's still an enchantment. It can be destroyed by anything that has enchantment hate. And the bigger threat, downside in my opinion, is that it's very reliant on the creature it's attached to. You got to be very careful with that part, because if that creature dies, this goes away, and anything good out of it doesn't really work. I also wouldn't recommend playing it right as the creature comes out unless they have haste, because then you're just putting a target on the creature. And that could give them, your opponents specifically, time to really stop you because they know what you're going to do. But yeah, otherwise, this is a very versatile card because even if you can do nothing else, it will save you from one creature the one time you use it, and for 2 mana, that is not bad. But there's so many better ways to use it. It's not a great card, but it's also very versatile, and the versatility, I think, makes up for any of its downsides. Alright, well, that's the deck. Hope you like it. Or, well, it's actually not a deck, it's the card. Hope you don't mind the misspeak. If you like this video, leave a like, obviously. Subscribe, leave a comment, and see you later. Bye.